Evening, everyone. Welcome to another beautiful day with us on Live with Lloyd, where the love of numerology or the science of numerology is about learning and enlightenment. As you see, I have my guest that will be coming on. I've asked her to come back. I've got such a tremendous response for it. So she will be joining us in just a moment. And let me just do a couple of things here, which starts with me. And then I will do this. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn, and I do appreciate all of the support that I get, the comments that I get, and the fact of how the guests have been helpful to you. Um, so this is going to be another interesting show that I'm going to have it as you do. As you know, I always talk about where the forecast is. And by the way, somebody asked me about this, and you can see a fuller report every day on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. It's actually Facebook, yeah, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I call it Where the Moon Is. And what it does is it gives you an idea. I talk about more the description of the day, what kind of day, the signs that you see here. So what you see here is just a brief synopsis. But if you ever want to see the entirety of it every day on my links of either Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn. You'll get to see it. So anyway, this is Wednesday, the 21st of September. It's by this time next week, we'll be in the sign of Libra. Right now, I think this is the last day of Virgo, give or take, or depending on where you were born and the time you were born. The sun is still in Virgo. The moon is in Leo. So we're going to have a new moon coming up this weekend. Mercury is retrograde still. That will still continue until October the 2nd. But even then, there will be a shadow effect. So allow 5 to 7 days after that, or maybe even longer. It's a 6 universal month, a 9 universal week. But as of tomorrow, it will be a 1 universal week, which I'll explain on Monday. However, it is a 9 universal day. So if you happen to be in Aries or Scorpio or Sagittarius, such as my guest that we have on this evening, or Pisces, or if you're born on the 3rd, the 9th, the 12th, the 18th, 21st, 27th, or 30th of the month, this is your day. And by the way, this is where the joy of numerology is, the joy of learning and enlightenment. So please please share, please subscribe, hit the notification button. I guess that subscribe is the same thing. But by doing that, and I've got to thank a lot of people, really. And I think I'm going to take maybe a time off to just do that. And I thank the many people that I don't get a chance to, because I be trying to multitask, and it's something else. Okay. But I think I'm doing pretty good, all considering when I started about a year and a change ago. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my very special guest, Miss Kendell. Kendell Cobb, how we doing, lady?
Great today. How are you?
I am doing fine. So today is one of those Sagittarian energies, because it is a 3, and 3 is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius, and in a minor way Pisces. And today we discovered Neptune, but that's another story for another time. So I would expect anybody under these signs or whatever to do this. You
It
know,
explains the great day that I've had today. So, yeah,
good,
makes
good.
sense.
We
It's
all
been a
need to
great
have
day.
great days. It's interesting. When I had you on for the very first time, we kind of demystified some of the stereotypes that's associated with your craft. I think when people see it on TV, again, they're expecting to be hypnotized and acting all silly on the stage and whatnot like that. But this is a real life-changing therapeutic approach to reaching the mind. And I guess that's why Joseph Murphy had that popular book that was wrote back in, I think, the 20s or the 30s, called The Power of the Subconscious Mind.
That's
And
right.
I think you were very clear about the things that we do when we self-talk. Can you explain the self-talk? People say, "Oh, that was stupid of me." Oh, that was. I don't think people really understand, at least from your vantage point, how significant that is, the self-talk that we do to each other and do to our children?
Right. Well, the subconscious mind always listens. So even if you say it flippantly, your subconscious mind is listening. It's taking notes. So even with children, you have to be very mindful of what you say. Your words need to nourish and not tear them down. And a lot of times it's not even something that's really overt and cruel that you say. It's just little things. Who do you think you are? If your child doesn't turn back and say something to you that is magnificent, then you've dropped the ball. It's little things that we say that really impact our children because they spend many, many years with us. So over time, we can do damage. And of course, you're not realizing it, it's not your intent, but it happens and it tears away its self confidence and self image. So, it's important to really be careful what you speak, with the saying, what you speak about, you bring about, and that's part of manifestation as well. If you keep saying, I'm broke, I can't do that today, I'm broke. Can't do
We,
that. So
we set
what
into motion the subconscious mind to make sure we're broke, I guess you're
you
saying.
will stay broke. You will see to it subconsciously that you stay broke.
It's
So language is important and intent is important. And we just have to really be mindful and careful of what we say and what we think. So, one of the things that I've been working with people with a lot lately has been manifestation.
hmm. Okay, what do you mean?
Manifestation of opportunities for health, for joy, for freedom, for just changing your life. You can manifest what you want through your subconscious mind. So once you realize, one, I deserve this, it's okay for me to ask for more, to expect more, to go for more. A lot of people have been coming to me because they want to start businesses. They either can't go to work because they refuse to get vaxxed or they just hate their jobs. There are so many people that just hate their jobs, that wake up miserable, just miserable, knowing that. And what an awful feeling to get up and go somewhere and spend at least 8 hours doing something that you don't enjoy or goes against your nature, or just you have no interest in it. So a lot of people are looking to start their own businesses, but confidence is in the way. Creativity sometimes. A lot of people will ask me, my creative juices have dried up, they're gone. Like, I just can't come up with ideas. I want to do a business, but I don't know how to put it together. I don't, there's just a lack of confidence that a lot of people have.
But when they're saying that, like, I can't do this, that's reaching their subconscious mind that only reinforces they can't do it. Would that be correct based upon what you were saying?
But that's okay because that's what we work on. That's what we work on while they're under hypnosis, under that state. Then I introduce the positive messaging. So that's what, oh, sorry to cut you off. My 15-page intake is no longer 15 pages. I got a new printer and it does front and back and all kinds of fancy things. So I'm saving the trees. So it's still all the same questions and everything, but it's condensed to fewer
Mhm.
pages. But with that intake form, I'm able to extrapolate from there what's really going on, and I know the questions to ask to pull out more information. People are interesting. Sometimes on an intake form, I will ask, it's always the same questions, but someone will be very sparse and vague with their answers about things that are really, really meaty and important. But then
Mhm.
you ask them about, because I'll use, like, what do you see in your room when you wake up? What's in your room? They will give me 500 different bits of information about their surroundings in their bedroom. And behind the vase, there's a small bottle of essential oil that I used to use 25 years ago, but I've stopped using it. Like, they will just go on a tangent about those kinds of things. But the really meaty stuff, They'll just give very vague answers. So
Is
that
that
tells me
because they're not?
something
Is
about
that
them.
is because they may not be aware? For example, is that what
No,
you're suggesting?
no, it's avoidance. It's not wanting to delve deep into where the pain lies, where the issues are. It's just avoidance. It
Well,
happens a lot.
it's interesting. 2 points, which is one, I've had a very attractive client, but she was always having problems with relationships. So when I talked to her, she said that ever since she was a child, her father said she would never find a man. She would never marry. She would never, and
She believed it.
evidently, it made such an impression that it almost came like a self-fulfilled prophecy for her.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Someone, it's funny you said that. Someone in my family had that same experience and she's never been married.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
We
that's
got to
one
be
thing. You
careful
have
how
to
we
be
really talk
so
to each other.
careful. Absolutely. It's incredible.
And another thing is, women will tell me, or I'll hear a lot directly from women, although I'm sure men go through it too, but don't openly admit it, is women will talk about having a low self esteem issue. I'm sure men do too.
Absolute. As a matter of fact, I would say it's 50-50. I see a
Really?
lot of men. My practice is pretty much 50-50.
That's interesting.
I'm so happy the brothers are coming in with self healing and self care. Yeah. I had a wonderful client today. Um, he's a university professor, brilliant man, and he's doing the work.
Yeah, it's interesting because even my guest that I had on 2 days ago, Juan from California, Los Angeles, he
My
says
buddy,
he says he's born, bred, raised there. He's not an import from New York or
he's so
Chicago,
LA.
Atlanta. Yeah, and he had talked very highly about you. And as I was telling you just before we came on the air, that I'm coming home late one night, and some person that I knew kind of stopped me and was talking because he wanted to introduce me to somebody he was talking to. And
Hmm.
this couple was walking past me, and this was in the evening, but evidently she heard my voice. She says, "Are you Lloyd Strayhorn?" I said, "Yes." And then she went on to rave about whatever you did for her, you got 5 gold stars that night. That's all I know. And show you how my dysfunction works is I couldn't remember her name, but I knew she was born December the 8th. I couldn't remember his name, but I knew he was born September the 16th.
You're
And
such a numerologist.
I focus. So it's just amazing. And so to me, I guess for you, it must be very satisfying to go between the layers, as people describe it, to get to the root of a situation to help them bring about a more healthier outlook on themselves and an outlook on life as a result. Would you say?
Absolutely. That woman that you saw texted me and she said, I saw Lloyd. I manifested him. I've been wanting to meet him for a very long time. And she says, I feel like I manifested him. So she told me about it. We spoke on the phone and
Yeah.
then she did her follow up appointment. I saw her the day after our last appointment. She did marvelously well, like so well. And then she did her follow up because, like I said, after the first appointment and you have movement and shift and change, then more things come up and you want to hone in and really, I mean, no, perfection is scary. I always tell people don't strive for perfection. You'll make yourself just
Because
so
nobody's
anxious.
perfect. Nobody.
Right, we're not here to be perfect. We're here to learn and grow and love and but we're not here to be perfect. So
Do you in your experience uh, tend to either pinpoint or understand why that is? We are caught up into being perfect, yet we're the most flawed people walking the planet.
well, think about when you were a child. Like I know, I'll just use my own children. I was a young mother and I saw my children as a reflection of me. So I would always say, listen, when you're outside this house, don't go out there and act the fool. Okay. Don't embarrass me.
Dude, I heard that. That sounds real familiar. Yeah.
So my poor little girls, like they were little and they had the queen's manners. Parents would say, how did you do that? How did you get your children? Like after dinner, they got up. They said, "Thank you for dinner." They wanted to clear the table, and they were trying to load the dishwasher. And like, how did you do that? Would you please take my kids for a week, train them? But it was my insecurity.
What do you mean?
It
That's
was.
odd that you would say that. That what and in light of what they did.
I mean,
What
it
do
was
you
great
mean?
that they had great manners. It was great that they were complimented and everything, but it was part of the pressure that I put on them, right? Like
Oh,
I
I see. I see.
Right. You are not going to be a statistic. Yes, I was a young mother, but you will not be a statistic. You will go to university and you will graduate with honors and you will do this and you will do that because you are wonderful and marvelous and brilliant, you know,
Well, I
just so
would
you
say
don't make me look
too much
bad.
pressure on them. You didn't put too much pressure on them, but it was.
I
But I
think
guess
you have
they
to
got
ask them. I think they'd have to answer that.
no, but when I was saying it kind of facetiously because then you expect them to graduate and honor you. You know what I'm saying?
I
And
didn't
so,
really mean with honors, but it happened. But I didn't expect that.
yeah,
In fact, at one point, with one of my oldest daughter was attending the University of Toronto, a really difficult. It's considered Ivy League in Canada, and I've never seen such a miserable campus. The kids are all so miserable and sad, and it has a very high suicide rate at that school.
really.
And I told her, listen, for what you're going to do after you graduate, you don't have to have straight A's. I don't expect it. I want you to have fun. So just relax. Just pass. I don't care what you pass with, just pass. How about that? And it took a lot of pressure off of her and it was much easier. And she did graduate with honors, but I think me just saying that made it easier.
Okay. Here's an interesting thing I'm seeing right there at the bottom. The person says she is Latasha Monique, and
Hi, Natasha, Monique.
she says her birthday is November the 30th. And it's interesting because the day's the 21st, and I said those also born on the 30th, which is her. And she's out of Detroit, and she's been wanting to see a hypnotherapist. So, therefore, now you're not restricted by geographical location, I take
My
it.
clients are all over the world. In fact, I got a new client from the last interview that we did from the UK.
Really? Yes, yes, yeah. Okay, good, good.
So everything is done on Zoom. So when you put up the banner information, she can give me a call or go to the website and drop an email. You can leave an email within my website or you can just call directly. And I always give a free 20-minute consultation by phone
Well,
before the session.
this is another one that you meant. She says, "This is Music Lover. I love Kendall. I did a session with her. I need to follow with her as soon as it's been busy since our last session." But she says she's already lost some weight, etc. Thank you.
Yay! I wonder who this is. I don't know who Music Lover is.
Yeah. Well,
Not
whoever it
bad.
is.
Yes, give me a call. We'll follow up and you'll lose some more
And speaking of distance, this person is chiming in. Lisa Mella
from
from Australia.
Australia.
Yeah. Yeah. So it just
Wow.
shows the technology of things and
It's
whatnot.
amazing. Do you know what? I used to have to travel. So I would have someone like it was usually either LA, Atlanta, New York, New Jersey, the tri state, Connecticut, like that.
Hmm.
But when COVID came, people became used to doing everything online.
Yeah.
And now my whole practice has taken such a beautiful turn. Just I work with people all over the world regularly now. It's not people having to fly in to see me.
Sure,
In the past,
sure.
I've had that, but now, like, Zoom is a beautiful thing. It really is. And it feels just as intimate because you're still face to face in a way.
Yeah, you just
And
can't touch each other, but it's
right, right. But it works. It works just as well, if not better, because even after your session, like a lot of times once I count someone back up, they will be a little fuzzy, a little out of it, and it's a nice state to be in. You've just done transformative work. No one wants to have to get up and drive or take a bus or a train or a cab or whatever right after. So it's nice that you're in your own space where you're already comfortable. I
but that
had
makes
a
a lot
client
of sense too.
yesterday.
Hmm.
After I counted her up, I looked at her and I thought, she's still gone. I'm just going to leave her alone. So I just said to her, soak it all in and we'll talk later. And I just turned off the video on Zoom
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
could see she was still processing. So it's
Hmm.
good that people are at home. I love this.
Well, well, I have another one. We're here, Afro Prep now. I don't know whether you know these people by their
That's Aton.
Aton. I think that man is your husband, isn't it? He did this the last time I read something
I
and come
guess
to
he's
find their
scared
husband.
nobody's gonna.
Well, let me just say in advance. First of all, we had talked earlier this week, and you explained that this month, September, is Disaster Preparedness Month,
It is.
and your
And we see the
husband is
disasters going left and right all over the place.
and your husband is one of the most experts on disaster preparedness. So toward the
Absolutely.
end, we're going to have him stick his head into the screen, but I've already got him slated to come on Wednesday, October the 5th.
Right. He's
Okay,
so handsome.
so we're gonna spend an hour talking about being prepared. A lot of people are taking a lot of things for granted, thinking everything is going to be available, but I notice, I see a lot of, well, you got to buy food for a couple of months or whatever the case. I'm saying, does somebody know something we don't know? So
Oh,
we're gonna have him on, but it's wonderful to see how a husband supports his mate. That's
yes.
what
He is
that's what I
very supportive,
like.
very loving.
He said it's so nice. It's how wonderful. It's wonderful how Kendall has been able to help so many people.
Maybe I wasn't supposed to say it was him, but it's
Did you
him.
ever hypnotize your husband?
That's him.
Have you ever tried it? Has he ever says, honey, I want you to work on me. I want you to hypnotize
No, no.
me.
But he's still like just so supportive. People say that I've hypnotized him, but I haven't.
Yes, you have. You just did it subconsciously. That's all.
I don't know.
Now, here's one that's very interesting that'll bring us both together. And this person says, is there a connection between numerology and hypnotherapy? I'll say yes in a
Would
certain
you?
way. Yes. For in my book,
Mm-hmm.
I have a chapter toward the end, Numbers in You, the orange book behind me. It's called
One I have.
Numerology and Thought Reading. And what it is I have let's say a person's asked me a question of a yes or no nature, and I'm not sure of the answer I might give or whatever the case is. There is a technique where you bypass the conscious mind and reach the subconscious mind, which is
Mm-hmm.
numerology and thought reading. So what I'll do is I'll ask the client to give me three single digit numbers, just any number off the top of their head. And that number will tell me if it's an even number, it means the probability is a no. If it's an odd number, the probability is a yes.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. So, for
Okay.
example, let's say a person says I gave you the number 1, 2, 3. Okay. Well, that adds up to a 6. Well, 6 symbolically means subconsciously deep down, there's areas dealing with duty, responsibilities, obligations. In fact, I think I might do that on my show one day.
You should.
Any
So
three digit
interesting.
numbers, and I'll see how it works. And it also
Oh,
means if the
Jessica.
and
Hi,
if
Jessica.
it's it means no is the answer to the question, that the person of their concern would either be a Taurus or Libra, or born on the 6th or the 15th or the 24th of the month. It
Mhm.
means subconsciously there's something dealing with family obligations, responsibilities, health, all depending on their zodiac sign and stuff like that. So
Right.
that's what's in my book, Numerology and Thought Reading. So now, do you see a connection with hypnotherapy and numerology?
I see how you can connect the two. I would have to know more about numerology in order to use it with hypnotherapy. I'm
Okay.
still reading your book, I'm still learning. I know that Dwan Brown uses cardology when he works with his clients, and he's masterful. Um, I don't know enough about numerology yet. I'm still learning. So, once I have more information, I can probably use that along with my intake form.
Sure, sure. Now, what happens if I have a person here that says it's Miss Jackson, and she says her birthday is 5/28/82. Can you give her some advice with love? Because
That's
sometimes,
for you.
oh, okay, well, anyway,
That's for you.
but when people do talk about love, especially women, men, we are more reserved about when we go to a person like yourself or any other person about being very open or anxious about our relationships, where we have some anxieties, I'm not sure. Well, women will express those things. So what happens when you talk to a woman before, like let's say in her case, she is kind of anxious about, well, does this person really love me? Does they really care for me? How do you lead them into it? Or that 15 page now reduce about 10 pages? How,
8. We're at 8.
even better, even better. How does that help a person? Does that make sense?
That's not what I do. That's not when someone comes to me and they're in the middle of a crisis in a relationship. It depends on what they're looking for. Sometimes someone will say to me, I'm in a relationship, it's toxic, I need to leave, but I just don't have the courage. So we work on their courage. Or I don't know if this is the person for me. I don't know what to do. We will work on their intuition so that not only will they build their intuition, but they'll follow it. So it's not for me to tell someone what's what, because that's not really my place.
Mm-hmm.
It's for them. We work together, but I need for them to really be accountable for their own lives. No one is dumb. No one that comes to me is dumb. They know at least the general direction that they're going into.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as far as men, I have a great track record with men. They open up like and because the men that come to me are very open and they just spill it. They just put it all out on the table and not under hypnosis. This is for the
This is in
first
the pre-screen,
hour.
I would imagine.
They're very open, very honest, very vulnerable. And yeah, men are looking for love and lonely and sad, just like women are. I think I told you in the last interview, I would love to start a dating service because I know wonderful men and wonderful women. I would love to put them together.
Well, I'm
And
sure based upon that, you will probably have a lot of people who say, when are you going to start?
I do. And it's funny, like the professor that I was speaking with today was brilliant. He's in a relationship, but in my mind, I was thinking, I know the perfect woman for him. Wow. But he's in a relationship, so that doesn't work.
Yeah, so we're not going to mess with that. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if I can do that ethically, but it's just that because I really get to know people in such a short time, because it's all there, it's all in the intake, and then we talk, and I pull more information from the intake when we speak. So the first hour is spent just going over the intake and speaking and clarifying and getting more meat, because sometimes they just give you bones. So you get the meat. And then the half hour after that hour is the hypnosis part. And I record it and then they use it for reinforcement. But yeah, I would say it's not for me to tell people what they want. Sometimes I give advice or I ask leading questions so that they get to where they need to start thinking. Sometimes it's just the connection isn't made. So I help to bridge the gap there so that they can get to where they need to go. But my clients are smart. None of them are dumb. No such thing.
I have another question. It's from Corey Jenkins. They says, "What is your gift? Never heard of a hypnotherapist." Now,
Okay. So
it
it's not a
doesn't,
gift. I
huh?
mean, part of it might be. Some of what I do is a gift. My intuition is very high,
Is that because
and
you
my
develop a
emotional
so-called?
quotient.
Is that because you develop a, as shall we say, like anything you do, a second nature, so to speak, that adds into
After
the equation?
25 years, yeah. After 25 years, it's. But I was always that way. It's not like that was something new, but it's just grown. So when you're doing counseling with people, you just you learn how to read. You know what to try to pull out of people. But hypnotherapy is hypnosis, so it's not a gift per se. It's a therapy. It's a tool,
Hmm.
and
Well, you
it's
know what I was,
used to bring about change, Corey.
oh,
So if you had a habit that you needed to change, or you were struggling with something internally, um, a trauma from the past or present, or a habit that you needed to break, or a habit that you wanted to start, or I
mhm.
mean, so many different things. People use it for accelerated learning. I mean, a gazillion different things. If you go on my website, there's a long, long, long list of things that you can use hypnotherapy for.
Well, I want to ask you this: is there a difference between a hypnotist and a hypnotherapist, if that makes sense?
Yeah.
And
So
what
a
it,
hypnotist is someone who gets on stage and entertains. And I've
uh,
tried it twice. It was terrifying, kind
you?
of fun, kind of exhilarating. Yeah. I've tried it twice.
Okay.
One was at a I don't know if they do that there in the States. It's called a Jack and Jill. They do it before
Jack and
someone gets
Jill.
married.
Yeah, that used to be a big deal. Yeah,
So
Jack
I
and
did it
Jill.
at a Jack and Jill, and then I also did it at a club, at a nightclub in Toronto.
How'd you do?
Not bad, but it was scary. It was very scary. And then I realized um, at the Jack and Jill, I went a little too far. You know, there's always that fear that a hypnotist will go too far. And I had regressed them to nursery school age, and they were doing Ring Around the Rosie, and everything was going fine. And then I said, somebody pooped their pants. Was it you?
Wow. Yeah,
And this guy, I mean, big guy, and he looked at me with these eyes, and the fear and the embarrassment just like it knocked the wind out of me. I felt terrible. And I said, no, 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 it
because
wasn't.
that's the last thing you wanted to
I
do is
don't want,
bring it out.
right. You
But
don't
it
want to hurt
goes out,
anyone.
right? Because kids at that time will often soil themselves, as we call it.
Right. And
You
he
know what I'm
really believed that he was in nursery school. It was a bunch of them. They were doing Ring Around the Rosie, holding hands. And
Well,
then
I
I just said,
mean, it's
this
funny,
isn't
but
for
I'm sure
me.
it wasn't funny at the time.
Everyone laughed, but I just felt really bad. I was like, you know what, Kendall, you don't have a good grasp on this. You need to
Yeah,
leave
yeah,
it
working with.
to the entertainers.
Now, this person here says, this is a Pamela Jones. She says, "Hi, Kendall. Nice to see you. People, she is great. I had a session with her after she was on the last time. So, believe
Hi,
me, I'm just checking
Pamela.
a lot of testimonials here. And so
She
I
did
just,
great work. She really did. She did great work.
Well, I got somebody else here. You sure you don't have these people calling into this show?
No, I don't.
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. But this
Samira, I know her.
girl was, she says, I was so blessed to have seen her on your show. I'm a better person thanks to her.
Oh,
Everybody
thank
can't
you.
be wrong.
I
Everybody
love
can't be
my
wrong.
clients. I love
Well,
them.
they obviously giving you the feedback. They love you too. And I keep seeing this guy Afro Prep. Now he says I'm always with her. That means he keeps an eye on you. You know what I'm saying?
He's in the living room watching.
Yeah. So it says, "Good evening, Lloyd and Kendall. I'm just." Um,
Where are
uh,
my glasses?
she said, "I would join you. Were you to start that?" Oh, somebody is saying that if you started a relationship business, they would definitely join you to start that business.
Ooh.
They would sign up. And
I
I think
know
it would
three
be a
people
different
now.
I think it would be a different approach because they've been relationship shows about well what signs, what numbers, but from a
See,
hypnotherapeutic,
you and I could do it together too.
yeah, definitely. Okay, we might be starting something. Okay, so I just think it's very very interesting because there seems to be a lot of questions about relationships, and a lot of people seem to be very kind of not happy for whatever reason.
It's true.
And I
It's true.
gotta I gotta thank the Williams family out of Chicago. They're always my biggest supporters. They will donate whatever the case is, Cash App. And so the Stephen and Mrs. Williams, I thank them from the bottom of my heart. See, I
Hello,
get
Mr.
these
and Mrs.
things,
Williams.
and you're supposed to say thanks and stuff, but I'm kind of like I look at it after. So I'm trying to say, okay, let me do this, let me do that, and whatever.
It's a
Now,
lot going on, right?
yeah. Now, this person asked you a question. They wanted to know what made you pursue the work you're doing now.
I used hypnotherapy when I was 9 months pregnant and in labor. And I went to someone that I did not resonate with. I'm going to put it that way. We did not resonate. And it was a mess. It didn't work. But I still knew that hypnosis was powerful. I just knew. And then this was in New York City when this happened. This was in 1988. And then in 1997, I saw that I could learn through the University of Toronto.
Hmm.
And I went, and the honest truth is that I did not have the best training, but I got what I needed so that I could start my business. And then I just started right away. And I was good right away. Not to toot my own horn, but I was good right away. And my practice just grew really, really fast.
Well, obviously, looking at the feedback here is very obvious, and especially those that have had sessions with you.
Well, when you love what you do, I think you become really good at it.
Yeah, like anything. This person has an interesting question. Is hypnotherapy related to astral projection?
No, but I have had people astral travel while they were under.
Really?
Hmm. Yeah.
So, in other words, in the session, they actually would you appear to have an out of body experience,
They
as they
left
might
their
call it.
bodies. Yeah. And what was interesting was when it happened, like I watch my clients on camera, or back when I used to do it in my office, I would see them right in front of me. And I'm looking for all kinds of different cues in their body and all kinds of things that happen when people go under.
Hmm.
And I remember this one gentleman, who was the first one that did it. It was like he was just laying there dead. There was just nothing going on, which was strange.
Hmm.
And then when I counted him back up, he said, I left my body. I was gone. And I said, where did you go? And he said, I was in a big office and there were shelves with all these boxes and things in them. And then there was a big long counter in the middle. And I said, you traveled, but you just went next door to the next business over. And how I knew what it looked like back there was because the woman who worked there used to do my desktop publishing. So
Mm.
she would make my flyers, she would design my stuff for me because I didn't know how to do any of that. So I would pay someone to do it, and she worked in the offices next door. So completely different business. And even if you went into the business, there's a wall where you can't see anything behind it. So I said, yeah, you just went through the wall. But yes, you left your body because you laid there and you looked dead.
That's interesting. So you
And
must have
he
some
said,
very
I've never been there
thinking.
before. And then I've had people that like traveled.
Have you ever had what would be called a more frightful or scary experience in a session, if that makes sense, without revealing too
No,
much?
no, not really. No.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had people that become emotional when sometimes when people release heavy stuff, they'll cry but no, nothing scary.
Okay.
The scariest thing was when I had that man thinking he pooped his pants. That to me, that was scary. Like I was heartbroken that
Yeah,
he had to do
because that was probably the last thing on your mind in a club, and
it
you.
was stupid. It let me know that I need to stay in my lane. that's what
But
that's what
it
that did.
also tells me, it let me know that you were just that good to put a person adult and regress them back that far.
Oh
Okay.
well, it was maybe 8 people, 8 to 10 people that were holding hands going around doing it.
Wow.
So yeah, they were all under. Listen, I was just as amazed as anybody else because I didn't know. That was the very first time I did it.
Well, I have a
And
remark here from somebody, Jacqueline Tramble. She says she's 60 when they would like to learn how to trade, have brought 2 courses but cannot focus. I don't know what she means by trade, stocks,
she's
crypto.
probably doing Bitcoin or day trading or something
Okay.
like that, and she's having issues with focus. Great for focus.
Now I don't know
The
whether she's
focus, procrastinate. I understand what she's saying. So she's saying that she would like to learn how to trade. She's already purchased 2 courses, but she's unable to retain the information to focus on the course. So
well,
she
she
needs
definitely
help.
needs to give you a call, wouldn't you say so?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
It's wonderful for focus, and I'll bet she'll find 2, 3, 4, 5 other things she'd like to work on as well when she thinks about it.
Yeah, she
People
says
will call me for
she says
one
stop.
thing. Yeah,
Mhm.
they call me for one thing, and then when they go through the intake form, they're like, "Oh yeah, I'll have some of this." And some.
Well, as many questions as you asked, nothing personal,
And
but
I'll tell you something. There are questions that I'll ask the same question 3 different times in the form, and someone will give me 3 different answers.
really,
Yeah,
that's interesting.
it's
Did you do that deliberately?
absolutely.
Okay, gotta watch you, huh? Okay.
All of that helps me to know how I'm going to put them under. And it tells me a bit about their personality. Sometimes it tells me about their self awareness. Sometimes it's not just self awareness, it's also how open they are.
Mm-hmm. That
So,
makes sense.
and how much I'm going to have to pull out of them in
Now,
that first hour.
and one thing I want to do too is address the fact that now we're getting close to, now that we're past the summer and into the fall, now we're going into the
Blues.
holiday seasons of Thanksgiving and Christmas. I imagine they celebrate those things in a similar way in Canada too.
Yeah, it just said Thanksgiving here is in October.
Really?
I guess because it's colder or something. The harvest comes sooner. I don't know why, but it is.
And Christmas is in December traditionally, like it is
Yes.
here? Okay. My question is, how it seems like for some reason during the holidays on medias or TV or whatever, there's always a projections of family. Yet that is some the time when people are the most loneliest. That is the time when people will commit suicide or things of that nature, jumping
Right.
from trains, especially here in New York. They get
Here too,
depressed.
here in Toronto.
Huh?
Here in Toronto as well.
Really?
Oh, it's so sad. And it happens often, all year round.
What is it you think that causes this this way of thinking, much less doing something self-destructive to the self,
Well, for
especially doing
someone to get to that point, they're mentally ill. That's clearly a state of mental illness. So, I mean, it could be for a number of reasons. And sometimes the reason is purely chemical. It's a chemical imbalance, right? But a chemical imbalance in the brain is mental illness quite often. So, yeah, it happens and it's very sad. But lately, with what's been going on, a lot of people have lost multiple people in their families, you know?
and you're saying that that would therefore add to the depression or chemical
Sure,
imbalance.
because you remember that person's not here. That person doesn't have a place at the table. That person, you have all these memories, maybe childhood memories or through divorce. Divorce is another reason why people will come to see me. The end of a relationship or divorce, where that's one of the hardest things to deal with, who for many people, who am I, especially after a long relationship, who am I without this person? How do I self-identify? So you feel like half of you is gone, even if that half of you that feels gone is someone that you're furious with, but it's new. And being able to make your way after something through that, like that, is hard for many, many people that are honest with themselves and that are connected to their emotions. Some people shut down completely and it's like, yeah, well, it's over, time to move on, because
Well,
they can't even face the pain.
let me ask you this. From your experience, who has more challenges with a divorce or breakup, men or women, in your sessions?
I find that, and this, I'm just going to say it, women are used to being hurt more than men are. Women can bounce back, it seems, better than men can. When a
Hmm.
man gets his heart broken, it's a big, big, big deal. He's angry at women. I'm not saying all, but many,
Hmm.
they don't bounce back the way or as quickly as women can. And just the amount of anger and pain that they hold, I think it's harder for men. From my experience, it seems it's harder for them to let it go and to be able to love again and to be open to it. It takes men longer than it does women.
Yeah, I was told that, and I do believe that because probably because we men more internalize our feelings, where women will have somebody to express it or whatever the case is.
I just feel honored that so many men, like my clients that are men, they really open up. They just let it rip,
Well,
So
maybe you
when
have
I
one of
hold
these rare.
space, it's like let it out. Tell me everything. It's a safe, judgment-free space for you to really transform and heal.
I think that's nice. There's a couple of things. One, Sharon 65 says, when you talked about your questionnaire being you project or ask questions, but in a different way, she says that's done on job assessments using the same questions more than once. I ask them why. I would imagine you do too.
No, because I do it. I ask the same question more than once. And the reason why is because I will get sometimes three different answers. Sometimes I get two answers on a job assessment. I'm guessing they're looking for liars. I don't feel like when people give
Interesting.
me three different answers that they're lying. It never feels like they're lying. It feels like quite often, one, they're not self-aware about that particular topic. Um, and sometimes people will say, and I'll when I say to someone, well, you've given me three different answers. You said this and this and this. How do you feel today? And they'll say, you know what? That's funny. I didn't realize I did that. When I first started the intake, it was, one day. And then I finished it the next day or later that day. And it's true. Sometimes just where you are in your day and how you feel, the answer may change.
That's interesting. And this person, Jaslyn Kelly, says that's so true about Christmas and Thanksgiving. Maybe it has something to do with the perfection expectations that you mentioned earlier. The perfect family is constantly being smeared uh, in our face,
Yeah.
which is probably true because that's what's projected. During the commercial breaks, there's all the holiday candles and music and gaiety and whatnot, and yet the person watching it is so depressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I remember like back in the day when I had children, the stress, I would stay up until 4 o'clock in the morning wrapping. And then I would sleep in the living room because I was terrified that the girls would come running out and I wouldn't get to see them because girls wait, like I want to see their faces when they see the tree. Like I put so much pressure on myself, and my husband would like, and we would do separate shopping. So it would be ridiculous. There'd be so many presents because we didn't necessarily communicate. It was a lot. It happened one Easter too. Easter
Really?
looked like Christmas. We don't do any of that stuff anymore, but it was a lot of pressure. You wanted to get the right gifts. You wanted to make them happy. You wanted, all of that. It was a lot, and it has nothing to do with anything. Like that's ego. Really, you think you're doing it for your kids? A lot of it is ego.
Interesting. Now, this person here says on Christmas Eve, a man asked for an EMS as he felt ill. He was considering jumping because he deceived and defrauded everyone. Then, when he had no place to go for Christmas, he realized he lost everyone. Isn't that interesting?
Wow, that's sad.
By deceiving and defrauding everyone, he had really no one to turn to in time of needs. And we will need each other at some point in time, if not in the present, definitely the future.
One of the things that I will ask people quite often is, what are your three biggest regrets in your life? And I get the head tilt.
Make them think, right?
And
Is there a common denominator, so to speak, that on
for
average?
parents, they will say, I wish I would have raised my children differently. I wish I would have had more patience, or I wish I would have let my children just blossom to be who they wanted to be naturally. Yeah, I hear that a lot.
That's
I hear people say they went into the wrong profession a lot. That was a huge regret. I hear people regret ending relationships. That's another thing.
Is that because they go up the road and mature and begin to look back and reflect that, I
Yeah.
really should have
We
kept
could
what
have
I
stuck
had.
this out. This relationship deserved to be nurtured instead of just abandoning it. Lots of men will say that they regret cheating because they lost the love of their lives.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yeah, definitely. So they thought they were having fun. And also women too.
I haven't heard it from any women yet. But yes, of course, naturally, women cheat as much as men do, probably.
Well, I've had women tell me they cheat better than men. So I
Women are
listen.
tidier.
Oh, is that what it is,
Yeah,
darling?
they're tidy. with their lies and deception. Men are sloppy, so they get caught. I think that's what it is.
I think you have to agree with the sloppy part for the men.
We may keep a sloppy bathroom sink with a bunch of stuff on it, but when it comes to certain things, we're much tidier than men are.
And that includes relationships. That's interesting. Interesting observations. Well, you must have a heck of an experience. But what I want to do is people want to know how they can get in touch with you. So here it is at the bottom of the screen. Please explain everything, how people can get in touch with you. Go for it, Kendell.
The best way, what I prefer, is just call me 1-800-503-1993. Or you can go to my website. Do we have it? Oh, we don't have. Yeah, we do have it there.
Yeah.
Hypnosiswithkendell.com. Please note that Kendell is Dell. In honor of my grandfather Wendell, I'm Kendell. So
Hold up. I didn't spell the
yeah.
name correctly. Your
You
last name?
did. No,
Oh,
you did. You did
oh,
it
okay.
perfectly, Lloyd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, good. I'll be checking.
Hypnosiswithkendell.com. And that's the website, or you can email me, Kendell@hypnosiswithkendell.com. But I love a phone call.
Okay,
And if
but then
I'm in
also,
session, of course, I can't take the phone, but leave a message. I will definitely call you back. You can send a text message even to that 1-800 number or an email.
and by the way, when you leave a number, I know how people are. So and so and so, so and so and so and so. That's because they've been saying it. When you leave your number, please leave it slowly so Miss Kendell don't have to go back
No,
and
I
read.
don't because my phone system gives me all the information. So it's good actually. It's all right.
Okay, good. All right.
It
See,
even
you got a better
writes it
system.
out, a text message. That gets a little wonky, but yeah.
Okay, good, good. Do you have a couple of minutes to bring your husband to the screen a second, the one to give you all your props?
Let's see. Let me put on my glasses and see. I'm
And
gonna
this has
try to
been,
be a lady and not scream his name out.
yeah, this has been a very interesting session, even more so than the first time. It gives us some insight to the power of the subconscious mind and the power of the things that we say to each other, even in our self-talk.
Let me get this man. I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
good, good. And in the meantime, as you see on the screen, is how you can get in touch with Kendell. Okay. All right. So hold on now. Let me switch full view. Hey, Todd, you got to bend down, brother, so we can see you some more.
Okay, let me get
Okay.
Here, take my chair.
Oh, I'm gonna take that chair. Okay. All right.
I would say Kendall, Aton, you're a lucky man, and she is a lucky wife. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, definitely a lucky man. I
Yeah.
look forward to. I love the show. It was very interesting, and for me, in when Kendall is finished dealing with like a client, um, what I like to hear is how much he's been able to help a lot of black men,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because that oftentimes we don't share certain things, and that they feel. I just like the fact that she's been able to help a lot of the brothers out there.
Lloyd wants to know why you've never been my client.
Well, I love her, so I don't need to be hypnotized.
No, you've been hypnotized with your
Because what do I need to be hypnotized for? You tell me what to do anyway. It's like, what's the point of hypnotizing me? I'm right there. If she asks me to do something, I just go do it. It's not like, if she was going to
simple,
hypnotize me,
simple, right?
huh?
I says yours is simple, just whatever. Okay.
It's simple, man. It's like what does she want me to do? If she was going to hypnotize me, she would hypnotize me to do things that I don't want to do, like wear certain clothes, which I told her that if she did, I'd have to have my son nearby, because if I didn't, because I've seen what she can do in terms of, even like she spoke about, she didn't like doing the stage hypnosis, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
at the same time, I've seen her do stage hypnosis, and I've seen the people afterwards, and I know she has that power. I know it's like it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So Um, if she sat me down and hypnotized me, I would listen to her. I would receive it, but who knows what she's going to hypnotize me and tell me what to do. I might be in here with a mop and a bucket. It'll be
You never know, right?
the morning. Will be from the beginning, from the day, from the top of the day. Go get this, go get that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that when you love somebody, it's, when they love you, we just do what we do. But definitely, I would definitely use Kendall's skill if I was facing a particular
Well, I
problem.
tell you this: what feedback I've heard in person and indirectly, they rave about us. So obviously, she's doing something right, and she even worked on me. And I started doing some things I never thought I would get done. So I bear witness with that too. But
Right,
on a serious note, I did not know until I talked to Kendall early in the week that September, what remains of it, has been called Disaster Preparedness Month.
hmm,
And I've heard of you directly and indirectly from years from King Simon and other people about Aton that you teach a course. So I've committed your wife to commit you to come on the show on Wednesday, October the 5th, to talk about it, because now they're talking about water's drying up, water's impure about this, and other climate changes and all kinds of things. And so we're going to take a serious note how to make people in our communities, or at least our viewers, be aware of some of the things that, should it occur, what are some of the basic do's and don'ts they need to survive this until it passes.
right, right. It's necessary at this point. I mean, to just before I split. I mean, I think that it's important for us to recognize that, and I think that especially within the Black community, that we had to endure 400 years of just very difficult life, 400 years of abuse, 400 years of misery, 400
Hmm.
years of struggle. And in a lot of cases, we've used the church as the refuge, as a sanctuary. We sing and we have communion, we get together with each other, we coalesce, and it makes us feel better because we had to get back out there and face the racism and the abuses that we receive within the system. But collectively as a community, we haven't recognized our position, like at this moment. At this Kendall's like dropping, she's dropping stuff, smashing
Sorry.
Jerry
No,
Lou
that's
things
what makes this
behind me in the office,
interesting.
and she's got all kinds of. I don't know what's going to happen next. It's going to be like she's going to just flop out on the desk. Um, we are not, we're not really aware. In some ways, we're aware of what's going on, but we don't have the acute information,
Oh,
the details about how bad certain things are, and that things aren't going to get better. Like we had this attitude, it'll get better, and ooh, child, things are going
yeah.
to get easier. The 5 stair
Hmm.
steps, right?
Hmm.
And but they'd have to make another record if they did it today, because it would be, ooh, child, things aren't going to get easier. Ooh,
Yeah.
child, they're not going to get brighter.
Yeah.
And that's the way that it is, because we have the global warming, we have all those things. So that's basically, to lay down where we're at. And, Kendall knows, and, I'm connected to a lot of different entities and worked with
Well,
and
that's why I
continue to work
definitely
with a
want
lot of
you
people.
on the show with us on October 5th, Wednesday,
Okay.
from
So,
7 to 8. So this show is going to be exclusively yours to raise our consciousness of our viewers, no matter where they may be, about some of the things, and to any stereotypes, any misinformation, whatever the case is, because it doesn't seem to be getting easier. That's for sure.
no, and it won't get easier. And because it won't, brother, there's certain things that we have to start doing now, in order for us to kind of avoid what's going to happen in the future. And for now, I'll leave it at that, right? And again, I think that what Kendall does in hypnosis, and she gives people a space to breathe. Up here in the most important part,
Yeah. Yeah.
She gives people peace. You know, her whole, and I'll leave you with this. Kendall's whole thing is comfort. She wants people to be happy and comfortable. And that even means me. If I'll go to bed and she doesn't see me sleeping in a certain way, Kendall will readjust the pillows and say, "You're not sleeping correctly. You're not comfortable." And the thing is that her whole thing is giving people that space mentally so that
Mm-hmm.
they can deal with. So I would even include what she does in I just spoke with someone, and but leaving with this, I just spoke with an associate who I work with, and I've always been the IPN has always been my organization's always been an adjunct to FEMA. Even though we thought that FEMA was garbage, that's why we essentially created our own not for profit. But
Mm-hmm.
um, I've decided to include the opiate crisis in disasters. So, like broadening the spectrum of what disasters actually are. And, we have 100,000, 100, almost 100, this maybe this year, 120,000 people that are going to die from the opiate crisis.
Wow.
That's two Vietnams every year, 58,000, right? Or 16,000, well, it would be 116,000 people but we have 120,000 people that are going to die this year from the opiate crisis. So we have a multitude of emergencies that we're not dealing with. And our community has a whole bunch that never spoken about. We're going to talk about that. And what Kendall does, I consider it part of the healing process
Therapy.
that we
Yeah.
do. Anything what you do, what King Simon does, anything that mentally stabilizes you to help you move forward is something that I would include as part of a recipe of
Well,
survival.
Aton, I look forward to you being a guest on the show. We're gonna leave Kendall in the next room, okay?
After he took up all my time? No.
So anyway, I want to thank you very much. Kendall, you the best. Aton,
Thank you, Lloyd.
October 5th, Saturday,
Okay, brother.
Wednesday,
Look
not
forward to it.
Saturday, Wednesday. Okay, that's
Thank
when it's
you for
best.
having us. This was wonderful.
Yeah, and by the way, hold on before you go. Let me put up the banner one more time so people can see. And as she says, she prefers that you call her.
Well,
And
they don't have to. Whatever's good for them is fine.
oh, okay. So anyway, call this wonderful couple as you see the man.
Oh, and
Yes,
please follow
Not me,
me
it's
on
just her.
Instagram and Facebook because it's sad up there.
yeah. Please follow her. Her IG and her Facebook FB is right there for you at Hypnosis with Kendall. That's it. Her website is hypnosiswithkendall.com. All righty. So this is it. So everybody, I want to thank you. Thank you both, you lovely couple. And I
Thank
will
you,
talk to
Lloyd.
you later on. So in the meantime, I'm going to switch over to announce what is going on later next week. In fact, next Monday, I'm going to have two brand new guests on the air with us. And they are, first of all, I'm going to have this distinguished gentleman here. He is whoops, let me take the banner off a second. Believe it or not, this is Jeffrey um, Williams Masonette. He is a professional bowler. Yes, when you go to the bowling alley, but he brings something that is very unique in the way, in the style of how he does what he do. So you'll get a chance to see that. Then on Wednesday, I have another person that will be very new to her, and this is Rasmela. Now, Rasmela does what is called facial yoga. You know how you do yoga for the body, exercise, and this is yoga for the face. She's going to have somebody demonstrate. I think she wanted to demonstrate on me, but I'm going to get somebody else to do it that she might know. I'm out of it. My thing is just ask questions and I'll stay in my lane. Okay. But between her and so this is Jeffrey Williams Masonette on Monday, September the 26th, and the beautiful Rosmella on Wednesday, the 28th. By the way, today is the last day my online courses are on sale. All righty. So you need to pick those up and get them. You own them. Um, believe me. And believe me, it was low as $11 for the top price is now $24. So when I be telling you, yeah, I'd like they ought to pay top dollar, but I would prefer that you have the knowledge as against because you can only do but so much money when you transition up out of here. So I'd rather you have the the knowledge that will take you there. And by the way, September, as we've got several more days left before it, but if you want to sign up for the free monthly newsletter and also my online course, you go to lloyd-strayhorn.com. That's where you sign up, lloyd-strayhorn.com. And also, while you're on my website, lloyd-strayhorn.com, also sign up for the free monthly newsletter. No, I do not sell your list. I don't play that. And tomorrow for the Clubhouse members, I have a Clubhouse room called Numbers in You, and it's called Learn from Lloyd with Numerology. But the Clubhouse room is called Numbers in You, which is my signature of what I do, my book and stuff like that. All right. So there we go. Tomorrow, Clubhouse. What remains of September, get the free newsletter. On Wednesday, this time next week, there will be the beautiful Rasmela Kumbo. And then next Monday, the 26th, it'll be this distinguished gentleman and talking about bowling in ways that you would probably be very interesting. So don't think it's going to be boring. I try not to have anybody boring on the show. Everybody, I want to thank you very, very much. This has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. Thanks for all the wonderful comments. Thanks for the comments that you give my guests and support them, because that's the whole purpose of me coming on every Monday and Wednesday. And I've got to thank a beautiful lady in Philadelphia named Jackie Barrios, who talked me into doing this, and I resisted. And that would have been one of my regrets, to not enjoy this experience of meeting so many nice people like you. All right. So everybody, y'all have a very nice day. Do take care of yourselves. And I'll look forward to you on Monday of next week. Have a great weekend.